Right, I'm recording it. So I'll do a dot first. Why am I going dot first? Because we are going to go through every single row of this table, and in so doing we will be adding it to the combo box. Okay, and don't forget we will TBL message dot next. If you don't do a dot next, there's a couple of other things we have to do here. We have to combo box CMB. Name of the combo box is message to edit. CMB message to edit dot to edit dot items dot add, and in brackets you'll put the TBL word, TBL message, radio table component name, and square brackets, and the column or the field name that you want to add to your combo box. So it's TBL message, square brackets, and I'm choosing this column. There's a couple of other things that we have to do. So don't forget the items.add in brackets, that has to be a string. You actually need to pay attention and not play on your phones. Yes, and that's going to be on video. I'm not mentioning anyone's name. So there we have that. Original, and then dot next. I've got my original field. Now, before we go and do anything in this combo box, we need to clear it. So we type the combo box name dot clear. We have to make this program as user-friendly and neat and accurate as possible. We can't have the combo box constantly being filled up. We need to clear it and then we refill it. So you say CMB message to edit dot clear, and after this while loop we're actually going to put it in alphabetical order because we can. The combo box contents dot sorted colon equals true. So we're sorting it, and that will be good enough. This is not code that you have to know for exams. You don't use it in your exams. This dot sorted equals true. Yes, we do go from the first row and then connect using a while loop and do things inside a while loop. That is examinable. This TBL active dot false and true, that is not examinable. And the CMB message to edit dot sorted equals true is not examinable, but you are using everything that you can inside your PATs. Right, so now we are going to carry on with our editing. We've got our combo box filled. If we run the program, we will see then we go to that edit, go to edit message, you'll see those are the messages that are there. So the user is going to choose one of those, and then they're going to choose what they want to change in the other combo box. So that's the whole plan. So we can go and put those items in CMB Choose. My one is called CMB Choose 1. I'm going to go and add them manually before runtime. I'm going to go to the items property, and over here I'm going to put in the things that I want to change. Now, if I change the original message, the encrypted message will automatically change, okay? So I'm not going to put in here, oh, I want to change the encrypted message. That will be a bit silly. We want to change the date sent, maybe. Maybe we want to change whether it's delivered or not. And I'll put a question mark there because these are for people to choose. They need to understand what is happening. So that's basically what I'm doing. I'm making it readable so they can choose. And then you must put a label over here on the top about what they must choose. And obviously you don't do the same things that I'm doing. But we also need to take the text property and clear the text property of both of these people. You can't have the program running. It's very unprofessional. You'll lose marks. This text property of the combo boxes, as with all your other edit boxes, etc., you need to neaten it up, clear the text property, make sure you've got proper captions for your buttons, and you need to have as many labels explaining exactly what we are doing over here, but I'm not going to go and put labels in here. That's your job. So now we are going to put in our button to change. I am going to use a button to change. I know we can also do the on change event of the combo box. But I'll just go, if you can't find a component, just go and search. My button was misplaced, but it's there now. I'm not going to try and change that now. Okay, now, very important that we have to give names to every component that we put in. It has to be describable. I'm calling mine BT and edit this message. Mine's called BT and edit this message. I'm using that. And you got to use something else, BT and change this one or whatever. As long as you know what it's meaning. So people are going to choose from there, and then we'll choose that. What happens when they choose from here? We need to get the message ID, the primary key. We want to actually display the primary key. Not display, sorry. We're going to use the primary key to make the right changes in the right places. So, yeah, we're going to go all the way backwards. We've already filled this up from the table, so I mean, one would think that we didn't have to go and get the primary key, but we're going to do it because it's good programming practices that we change things as per the primary key. Once we've got the primary key for the message we want to change, the options here will use a case structure for the options in our combo box. You need to know exactly what your options are and what order they are. So you go back to your combo box and you check it out. Okay, so there they are. I'm actually going to just put this in my Word document so I can remember. Okay, we need to have that on ease at hand for quick reference. In the button click event, my first job is to go and get my primary key for the message that the person chose. I can call it anything I want. ID is good enough for me. Enter here. And then we're going to go and do a loop the loop, going through the table. We have to do with DM do, with our data module do, and then we go and, well, I can safely say that when I've moved to this tab sheet that the table will be connected. So I'm just going to go ahead and say TBL message dot first, and then while not TBL message dot end of file do, begin and end, and we have to have our TBL message dot next. Now we're going to go through every single row of the table to find a match for that message that was chosen from the combo box. So I'm going to use the combo box.text property here. I'm not going to waste time with a variable. So what I really want is that ID. So I will say if TBL message square brackets original equals the combo box.text property cmb message to edit.text then we can safely say, and I'm going to do begin and end here, then we have our RID. And we have to get the primary key. What's it called? I know what my primary key is called. So you know what your primary key is called. Now this is important here. I'll give you a minute to get that down. We're just doing our preliminaries, getting our ID, our primary key. Okay, so why have I left a line here? I've left a blank line. I'll tell you now why. Because we're going to stop the loop. What if the original message is the first one in that whole table? What if there's thousands of messages? Wouldn't we want to, we don't want the processor to work unnecessarily, because guess what? This dot next means it's going to go to every single row of the table until we at the end. So if the match is right at the beginning, we haven't got anything to stop going to the next row here. See, it's going to keep going to the next row. That's a horrible waste of processor time. You lose marks for that. So you make a Boolean flag. You call it a Boolean flag. It's just a Boolean variable which is set to false, and when as soon as we find a match, we'll set it to true. Of course, this Boolean flag is not part of the be found. We set it to false. It's not part of the database module. It's just a Boolean flag. But yeah, okay, fine. So we'll set it to true. But what is stopping us? What is stopping the loop? How's that going to stop the loop? Just because we set it to true here, we set it to false before the loop, going through the table, and when we find a match, we set it to true. But that's not going to stop anything. We have to go into our condition here and say, wow, B found is false, and. So we've got two things over here. While we're not at the end of the table, and, in brackets, B found equals false. So while we're not at the end of the table, and B found equals false, that means that and means it has to be false. B found must be false for the loop to continue, and we can't be at the end of the file in order for this loop to continue. That and is extremely important. If you put it all there, then it's just bad logic. Both conditions must be true in order for the loop to continue. That's what and means. That and implies both conditions must be true in order for the loop to continue. So, that's what we're doing. So if the original message equals the combo box message to edit.text, then basically we can set b found to true, the loop will stop, and we're good to carry on. And we don't have to worry. And this is with the DM do. Now, of course, you do need to put comments. End of the while loop through the table. You need to have a comment for that. You need to put the comments where all your ends are, and you need to have a comment for every single thing that you're doing. End of using the data module. And then at the beginning you're supposed to say edit the message. This is end of the procedure, edit the message. For every single line, guys, you have to have, boys and girls, you have to have comments just about for every single line. Otherwise you will lose 4 marks. Right, now, have we finished using the data module? No, I don't think so. So I'm going to go right over here, and we shall continue. We've got our RID. That's what we wanted for this little procedure there. We wanted RID. No, what? So RID. And over here, what do we have now? We're now going to go and use our case structure with our combo box for choosing the item. Case CMB choose dot item index of 0, 1, 2. I think there are 4 items only. 1, 2, 3, 4. 0 is the original message. We want to edit the original message, so we're going to have a bit of a problem there. And yeah, we have a big problem with this one, changing the original message, and the reason is because we have to encrypt it again. And then for option number 1, so I'm getting my structure in here. This is a very important thing to do. Get your structure going so that you know exactly where you are. This is the outside. It's a framework, structure, whatever you want to call it, but basically it's letting you realize, okay, I've got to put code in those begins and ends. That's only to do with that option. We can have an else part here. Else. Else, we're going to show a message and tell them to choose an option 2. Can take note that there's no semicolon before else. And we have to know which is the end of case. So you have to put a comment, end of case, to choose a property to change, or something to that effect. So what things do we want to change? And if the person hasn't chosen anything, show a message, please choose an option to change. Well, anyway, my English is not really that good, but anyway. You've got to give them a message to tell them that they must now choose something. That's basically it. Okay. Right, for choosing this one, we've got a serious problem. And the problem is that we've got to make a new message, but then we have to encrypt it. So